Hello everyone. In the complex, often contradictory world of international diplomacy, certain headlines land with the force of a geopolitical earthquake. This week, one such headline emerged from Moscow, cutting through the noise of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, a man known for his measured, often acerbic commentary, delivered a stunning endorsement. He declared that former U.S. President Donald Trump's latest proposal for peace in the Gaza Strip was, quote, the best option in terms of Arab acceptability and non-rejection by Israel. This is not merely a diplomatic footnote. It is a profound political paradox. Russia, a nation that has grown increasingly critical of Israel's military campaign and has deepened its ties with Iran, is now throwing its weight behind a plan authored by a leading American political figure. Why? What does this endorsement truly signify, and what does it reveal about the state of global diplomacy surrounding the most intractable conflict of our time? Tonight, we dissect the anatomy of this unlikely alliance. We will examine the controversial details of the Trump plan, analyze the cold, hard realpolitik driving Moscow's decision, and explore the global implications of this strange new chapter in the diplomatic chessboard. To understand the significance of Lavrov's statement, we must first understand the document he is endorsing. Donald Trump's September 2025 Gaza Strip proposal is not a vague outline. It is a detailed, 20-point framework aimed at achieving an immediate cessation of hostilities, the return of hostages, and a fundamental restructuring of the Gaza Strip. The plan's core components are as ambitious as they are contentious. First, the hostage exchange. The proposal mandates an immediate ceasefire upon acceptance by both sides. Within 72 hours of Israel publicly agreeing, all Israeli hostages, alive and deceased, must be returned. In exchange, Israel would release a substantial number of Palestinian prisoners, 250 serving life sentences, plus 1,700 Gazans detained after October 7, 2023. Furthermore, for every Israeli hostages remains released, Israel would release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans. This ratio is a key point of negotiation, and its sheer scale underscores the urgency of the humanitarian crisis. Second, demilitarization and governance. This is the plan's most challenging pillar. It calls for the complete demilitarization of Gaza. Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence and decommission their weapons would be granted amnesty. Those who refuse would be offered safe passage out of Gaza. The plan envisions a temporary, technocratic, and apolitical Palestinian committee to govern the territory, overseeing public services and reconstruction. The most unique and perhaps most satirically charged element of this governance structure is the proposed international transitional body, the Board of Peace. This board, which would oversee and supervise the new administration, is to be headed and chaired by none other than President Donald J. Trump himself. This provision has drawn light criticism, suggesting a blend of serious diplomacy and personal brand building, a characteristic blend of the former president's foreign policy approach. Third, the sticking points. Despite its detailed nature, the plan faces immense hurdles. Hamas has publicly rejected the demilitarization terms, refusing to disarm or relinquish its political influence. On the Israeli side, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reportedly stated that a Palestinian state would not be established under the terms of the Trump plan, directly contradicting the proposal's stated pathway toward eventual Palestinian statehood. The plan, therefore, is a diplomatic tightrope walk, with both principal parties expressing fundamental reservations. Given the plan's inherent flaws and the deep-seated animosity between Moscow and Washington, Lavrov's endorsement is a masterclass in geopolitical maneuvering. It is a decision rooted less in a sudden belief in the plan's idealism and more in a calculated assessment of Russia's strategic interests. Lavrov's exact words are crucial. He called it the best option in terms of Arab acceptability and non-rejection by Israel. This phrasing is highly revealing. It suggests that Russia views the plan not as a perfect solution, but as the most pragmatic proposal currently on the table that has not been immediately dismissed by the key regional players. In a diplomatic vacuum, even a flawed plan gains weight. Russia's balancing act. For years, Russia has attempted a delicate balancing act in the Middle East, while maintaining historical ties with Arab states and deepening its strategic partnership with Iran. Moscow has also sought to avoid a complete rupture with Israel. However, since the October 7th attacks and the subsequent military campaign, Russia has grown increasingly critical of Israel's actions, often aligning its rhetoric with the concerns of the Arab world. The geopolitical wedge, the endorsement of a Trump-led initiative, serves a clear geopolitical purpose. It drives a wedge into the heart of Western unity by praising a plan from a political rival of the current U.S. administration. Russia simultaneously achieves several objectives. 1. It undermines the current U.S. administration. It subtly suggests that the current White House has failed to produce a viable peace framework, forcing Moscow to look to a former president for a solution. This is a classic move to score points in the ongoing global struggle against the West. 2. It boosts Russia's image as a pragmatic broker. By supporting a plan that, in Lavrov's view, has a chance of success, Russia positions itself as a pragmatic, results-oriented actor, contrasting itself with what it often portrays as the West's ideological rigidity. 3. It maintains influence. By engaging with the proposal, Russia ensures it remains a relevant player in any future negotiations, expanding its toolkit in the region. The subtle satire here lies in the sheer irony. A plan that seeks to dismantle a U.S.-designated terror group is being championed by a nation that the U.S. currently views as its primary geopolitical adversary. The pursuit of peace, it seems, is merely a convenient byproduct of the pursuit of power. The Russian endorsement has forced a reaction across the diplomatic spectrum, revealing the deep fissures in the international response to the Gaza crisis. The U.S. response. The current U.S. administration has been placed in an awkward position. While the plan is American in origin, its author is a political opponent. Any official comment must navigate the fine line between supporting a potential peace initiative and validating a rival's foreign policy credentials. The silence or the measured, non-committal response speaks volumes about the political complexity of the situation. The Israeli and Palestinian response. For Israel, the endorsement from Russia is a mixed blessing. While Russia's support for any plan that includes the return of hostages is welcome, the broader context of Russia's deepening ties with Iran and its criticism of Israeli military actions remains a concern. For Hamas, the Russian endorsement does little to change their fundamental rejection of the demilitarization clause. The plan remains a non-starter for the group unless that core demand is removed. The European Union and Arab states, the EU, which has struggled to find a unified voice on the conflict, now faces pressure to engage with a plan that has received an unexpected stamp of approval from Moscow. For Arab states, the acceptability Lavrov mentioned is conditional, while they welcome any initiative that promises a ceasefire and humanitarian relief. The long-term governance and statehood provisions remain the ultimate test. The implication, a diplomatic vacuum. The most significant implication of Lavrov's statement is its exposure of a profound diplomatic vacuum. The fact that a plan from a leader proposed outside of official channels is being hailed as the best option by a major global power suggests that the established diplomatic machinery, the UN, the Quartet, and the U.S. State Department has failed to produce a viable, mutually acceptable framework. This vacuum is now being filled by a blend of unconventional diplomacy and geopolitical opportunism. The endorsement of Donald Trump's Gaza plan by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is a moment of stark clarity in a conflict defined by confusion. It is a reminder that in the high-stakes game of international relations, peace proposals are rarely judged on their merits alone. They are judged on their utility. Russia's move is a calculated one, designed to maximize its own influence and highlight the diplomatic paralysis of its Western rivals. It is a pragmatic nod to a plan that, despite its deep flaws and the fundamental rejections from the principal parties, offers a concrete, if controversial, starting point for discussion. The challenge now is for the world to look past the political theater and the unlikely alliance. The script for peace in Gaza remains unwritten, but the plot has thickened considerably. Whether this plan becomes a genuine pathway to de-escalation or merely a tool in a larger geopolitical struggle will depend on the willingness of all parties to prioritize human lives over political gain. The world is watching, and the clock is ticking. In a world where peace deals often feel like elusive prizes, perhaps this time, with all eyes watching, the negotiators will finally cross the finish line. Stay tuned as we monitor developments. Tomorrow could bring history, or just another day of waiting. Thank you for joining us.